Good evening to all you beautiful people tuning into the Locker Rooms and Legends podcast. LNL, you know what it is. You've been here before, and if you haven't, you're in for a treat.
It's my first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, can you please introduce yourself?
I am Alan Iverson. There's a lot of questions going to be asked on this podcast, but I have all the answers.
That was good. Yeah. And to my left, reoccurring guest here. It's his second time on the show. Please introduce yourself.
I'm not Allen Iverson. I'm Bobby. But shout out to Clayton Kershaw for the game today. Shout out for Bellinger for the homer.
Really sad that guy's not won a ring yet.
It's crazy.
It's going to be 2 after this.
That's weird. I thought you only won one of the season. That's really weird.
Anyways, so, guys, this is a sports podcast, right? Sports plural.
I guess.
And so far, we've only really talked about football. We mentioned baseball a little bit. But today, I'm really excited.
Well, we've talked about the sport of hunting Bigfoot as well.
Well, today I'm really excited.
The number one prestigious sport, Bigfoot hunting.
Well, today I'm really excited because we finally get to talk about basketball. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited because I get to talk about my Lakers. I'm really ready for a deep playoff run.
I am too.
Does anyone know? Who do the Lakers play round one?
Cancun.
There's a team from Cancun? There's a team from Cancun?
No.
There's not?
Not
Oh,
Is this like the relocation thing where they won their last ring that didn't matter? Or
They're playing 2K in Cancun.
Oh. Bob, you saying LeBron, the greatest of all time? I'm sorry, I don't want to get into that. The greatest of all time, not today, didn't make the playoffs this year, Bobby?
It's not his fault, but yes.
Are you saying it's Russell Westbrook's fault?
Wait. You're telling me a super team of LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook didn't? Anthony Davis, man of
I like
glass.
how your first two after LeBron was Carmelo and Dwight Howard.
That team didn't make the playoffs?
Bobby's saying they didn't. I swear they did.
I just tuned out the rest of the season because when I saw them sign all those guys, everyone was telling me that there's no team beating this team out of 4 games.
Thank God I'm not a Lakers fan, or I would hate myself.
I mean, so you're telling me Melo didn't drop 30 points per game this season?
I don't think he played 30 minutes in a game this season.
I don't think he played 30 games this season.
No. So you're telling me trading all that young talent for a good roster?
Okay, we're not gonna call Kuzma and fucking KCP young talent, but
Alex Caruso.
he didn't trade him. He
I
signed
know, but still.
he signed elsewhere.
But you're telling me getting rid of all those guys to get Russell Westbrook didn't get them to the finals?
No,
Oh,
and I have a reason.
you do. What's the
So
reason?
I just want, Bobby, would you consider this Laker team, a super team?
Before the season started.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Obviously not now.
So Bobby seemed to have a point about these Lakers. What do you?
It's not just about the Lakers. I would throw the Nets into there too, because
I was gonna bring them up, but I just didn't know if you had a point about specifically the Lakers.
specifically the Lakers, they don't mesh. They have no shooting. Their defense is terrible. They just threw together names. It was like a 2K draft. They're like, oh, I want
I gotta check.
Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. They picked 2K players. They picked big names that really didn't prove anything.
That's what
at
kind of
all.
looked like they did the other time, but it somehow kind of worked.
I mean, because they had pieces. Like KCP could throw up a shot and make it. Avery Bradley was playing insane in the bubble.
I think their defense back then was also...
Yeah, when you
Yeah,
get a bunch of guys
Caruso-
who just want to...
Well, Caruso, Rondo, KCP,
yeah.
Danny Green...
Avery Bradley went in there and locked up. Anthony Davis played every game.
That's a good point.
That's unheard
He
of.
didn't miss any games.
Yeah.
That is unheard of.
Man of glass played every game, and it's like that's the X factor there, because the Lakers aren't very good without him. LeBron can put up his 50 points, but they're empty to an extent. He's winning them the games when he's dropping 50, but if he's not, they lose.
They lost 7 straight to miss the playoffs. But maybe more.
And a lot of people are giving LeBron shit for missing the last game of the season, not playing through an injury. I mean, the guy's almost 40. I'm not going to sit here and, he should play through it. A lot of people are like, Kobe Bryant would have played through it. Okay, whatever.
Kobe would have torn every muscle in his fucking
Probably
body,
would have.
and he probably would have played a little harder, but it's like, what can you do?
But we aren't talking about Kobe Bryant yet. We will later. But right now, what we're talking about is Lakers, super team before the season, right?
Yes.
Terrible. They did terrible. Didn't make the playoffs.
Yes.
Another super team that's struggling, it seems, is the Brooklyn Nets.
I wouldn't say they're struggling. They've had a ton of injuries, and the Lakers did too. But like the Nets, you can tell they have actual chemistry on the team, especially without Harden. That was another issue, and why I think super teams are like really like crappy now is because everyone wants to be that guy on the team. Like Westbrook wants to be that guy. He wants the ball every time. LeBron is the most ball dominant player ever. Like he leads the team always.
Not on defense, though.
Well, chase on blocks.
2013, he should have won Defensive Player of the Year over Marc Gasol, who made defensive second team and won Defensive Player of the Year.
But
Up there.
Yeah.
I am not talking about Miami Heat LeBron.
No, I know.
I am talking about 2022
Yeah.
Lakers LeBron. And I don't really mean the struggles of the Nets this year. It's more of last year where they were kind of supposed to go off and easily win.
I mean, if
I
Kevin
know-
Durant had it's said a million times, but if Kevin Durant had an inch smaller off his foot, they would have been in the finals.
I did forget about that. But, and I know a lot of it has to do with injuries. Who was hurt all of last season almost?
Kyrie wasn't there last season.
Yeah.
For most of it, and in the playoffs too. And then James Harden had like a calf injury played through it.
He kept on trying to play through it.
And,
Oh,
and
I
he
remember
played
how bad
like
he played.
he did not play good at all.
But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is like, throw away the excuses, and it's just, the super teams didn't work.
No,
It
And-
didn't work.
the
That is
reasoning
one.
behind that for me,
Well, I'm just talking about like
Oh.
recently.
the reasoning behind that for me is like I said, everyone wants to be that guy on the team. Everyone has their own play style, and if you don't put people together, like I love Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Adding James Harden to that just threw in another ball dominant player. I would rather have, say, like a Rudy Gobert on that team. That would be a super team, but
The
What about
original
DeAndre
Roman
Jordan?
man.
the guy who gets a ton of minutes on the Sixers, who's absolutely not an NBA player
I
anymore.
did not know he was on the Sixers.
He's
So,
so
just
bad.
to bring up, we're gonna bring up Rudy Gobert. anyone remember? And then he tested positive for COVID. What a guy! What a guy!
And then we lost the NBA for about 6 months.
Shout out Rudy Gobert.
Shout out Rudy, the Aussie
So-
nightmare.
He's French.
Oh well, Ben
He's
Simmons is Aussie.
French. All he knows how to do is surrender.
So how do you think Ben Simmons is gonna?
Let's not get into
I-
Ben Simmons.
No, hold up. I love it. I love Ben Simmons on that team because he has no expectations right now.
Fair. Does he even have expectations to play this season, or?
He's honestly, I've been
He
hearing
has
round.
Instagram stories? I think so.
I've been hearing round one from him,
Ooh.
which is crazy. They're what's so optimistic is the word.
Another thing I didn't know or didn't fully realize is that Steph Curry had been out this whole time, and then I kind of get to the playoffs, and I'm like, he's still out, and it's playoffs.
Yeah, they really said nothing about it. Like
They said I think he's practicing this week, so he could be back for probably like game 2 or 3 or something. I don't know when they play, but
yeah, I don't have any hope for the Warriors.
But a point that I like that you made, Bobby, is you said now the super teams are like this. Was there a time where the super teams were not like this, where not everyone was a selfish asshole on the team?
Yeah, the freaking Celtics. They
Oh, we're going way back, guys. We're going way
what do you
back.
mean? So like
like
08,
07,
The big
08,
three.
09, 010, or 010.
So
Here's
2010.
the thing.
here's the question: is a super team is kind of how many of those guys were drafted by that team and groomed to be on the team?
Paul Pierce and
That's it.
Rondo.
Okay, that's it. So then they
But
traded.
Rondo was even part of the big three, so
Yeah, he wasn't even.
And they
He
traded
would be
for.
4.
They
Yeah,
traded
maybe.
for or signed Ray Allen.
They
and
signed-
Kevin Garnett.
I'm pretty sure they signed Ray Allen, signed Kevin Garnett. They didn't trade for either of them. Pretty sure.
So that would be a super team because those guys were dominant on another team and then came over. for
Oh
our
yeah.
team.
yeah.
Ray Allen was a dog, and Kevin Garnett, top 5 power forward of all time. So,
for sure. Big ticket.
and then
Anything is possible.
getting to my favorite team.
Hey, yeah, let's talk about that.
That super team worked after the first year because the same thing is happening now. LeBron wanted to be that guy. Dwayne Wade wanted to be that guy. Chris Bosh also wanted to be that guy.
But he's a center. And he's not.
He could
center.
shoot though.
Yeah, but he's not like Joel Embiid, post up center.
It's
take over a game.
Yeah, I mean Chris Bosh had his games, but he was definitely a huge part of those teams. But once they all meshed, it was like they were just disgusting.
Chris Bosh, the dinosaur, by the way. We had an episode talking about Chris Bosh and his fellow dinosaur brothers. If you guys want to check that episode out.
Shout out Chris Bosh.
Also, we didn't shout out yet, but Instagram is Locker Rooms Legends, at Locker Rooms Legends on Instagram. YouTube is Locker Rooms and Legends.
Make sure to listen to the very end for a special treat. Bobby, sorry to cut you off there.
Just talking about the dinosaur, Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
So we talked about the Celtics, talked about the Heat. What's another one we have here? So we also...
One that didn't work was the Lakers in 2013.
Oh, no. It's very reminiscent of this one.
No.
And it's
that
like...
was even worse somehow.
They
Actually,
were
no,
they
made
were
the
8
playoffs,
seed.
didn't they?
They were 8 seed, but Nash was a dinosaur. Speaking of dinosaurs, he was like 39.
Yeah.
Didn't he hurt his back picking up his gym bags?
Something stupid like that. And Dwight Howard, he had his selfish mentality, like I'm that guy, and Kobe's on that team. Obviously, Kobe's the guy on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But Dwight was the best center in the league when he went there.
Did they not still have an aging Powell as well?
They had Powell. Powell was good at that point. Still, he was
still good.
He went to the Bulls after and showed out too. And then I think he ended on the Spurs or Bucks or some shit like that.
Spurs, I think.
I think he went to the Spurs and ended on the Bucks.
I did not even know he ended up.
You know anything of Robin Lopez too? Robin and Brooke Lopez, maybe, but I don't know. Just
no, Powell was on the Bucks and so were Robin and Brooke.
So now we see a past failure. That's just one I forgot about because we mainly remember the good things from the past, but that's what I forgot about.
Another underrated super team though too, the Nets with.
I was actually about to
Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett.
Oh no!
And I don't
they traded away like their whole future to get all these guys.
And Andre Blatch was their center. Shout out Andre Blatch.
Don't know who that is.
And they all just were so damn old. And Jerome Williams had knee problems.
Paul Pierce fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, Paul Pierce was injury prone.
Joe Johnson. Oh, Brooke Lopez was their center. What's wrong with me?
Oh yeah, Brooke Lopez on the Nets.
But Joe Johnson and Brooke Lopez were the best two guys on that team.
Yeah, but they weren't supposed to be. But
no. Yeah, but
funny how that works. It's almost like drafting developing players is the way to go.
Who would have guessed? Who would have thunk? I mean, obviously, if you have the opportunity to get a guy like LeBron, who is, I don't want to get in an argument, but arguably one of the best ever, you go get him. Okay, you go get him. Like what the
I
Lakers.
actually didn't know how you felt about that
I do
conversation.
feel like that.
Okay.
Like the Lakers went and got him. I mean, what are you gonna fault the Lakers? They gave up so much for him and AD, but you can't fault them.
You can't not sign LeBron.
Yeah,
like
I mean, if you
But
have
you
a chance to
can
sign
not let LeBron run the team after, and you
That
can
is
actually sign the guy.
But he is commissioner.
If you want him still there, yes.
that is true.
Just PSA to all the NBA fans out there: if you didn't know, LeBron is commissioner. Adam Silver is assistant commissioner. If you didn't know
he's
that,
more a
Le commissioner, le GM.
yeah. If you didn't know, now you know.
Lay your coach is fired.
Lay who is getting traded next. Oh, can those memes resurface now? Like LeBron searching through his phone, like who's getting traded next? He's got
Okay.
the notes sheet.
Big super team. How do we feel about the Golden State Warriors? Because obviously everyone calls them a super team, right? But they only really went out and got one guy.
I mean, a super team can consist of all guys you drafted, I think.
But I feel like the super team
pure
kind of carries.
development, though.
I feel like the super team carries like a negative connotation, like, oh, you just went out and got all these guys. You don't have anyone loyal to your team. But so it's kind of weird to say that's a super team because it is. But they drafted and developed Draymond, Steph, and Clay, which was the core, and then they just went and signed KD.
And I hate to say, like,
I know that's a hot topic.
I
in the
hate-
community.
I can't stand Steve Kerr, but the development on that team is insane. Like, Curry was, like, he wasn't even the best guard on his team when he was drafted and when he was coming up.
It was Monte Ellis.
Monte Ellis was the best guard on that team, and then they traded him and then let Steph have the reins, and he was just okay. Like, he was pretty good. He started
I
getting
think what
better.
the real reason was he wasn't good is that he'd have a good spurt and then hurt his ankles. Again.
Yeah, his ankles were made of glass. He had Anthony Davis ankles.
Oh god.
But yeah, like but that development, like Clay was like a what? He was like 18th pick. Draymond was like 2nd round.
Didn't Clay go to like Washington State?
Yeah,
He went to Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, some stupid like that. And it's like, it's pure development. Like Clay, well, I think when he was drafted, he wasn't even supposed to be like a 3-point shooter. Which I could be wrong there, but I think that's what happened. And like, he had like very poor draft stock or something. Like, still got drafted pretty high, but it's like, the development there is 100% like legit. And then you sign Kevin Durant. And it's like, geez.
They did a lot of other signings too throughout the years leading up to that got them their other championship.
Yeah,
runs.
like,
but how are you going to guard
like
Steph Curry and
Bogut
Clay?
and
like
Sean Livingston.
Livingston, Andre Iguodala, but those
Iguodala,
guys,
yeah. I forgot
those guys were there for like
The
5
man I would
plus
want
years.
taking that last 3.
Sean Livingston.
I was talking about Iguodala, but
I'd rather him take
Iguodala.
shout out Max Kellerman. We're trying to have him on the show soon, guys.
Max.
Don't worry.
He watches the show. You didn't know?
Yeah, Steven booted him off.
First take. Right?
First take. So he's coming here soon.
You guys didn't know.
He'll be the only guy in a suit, though. Don't worry. We're not changing us.
Oh man.
But that team was pure development, and then in 2019, everyone forgets they added DeMarcus Cousins too.
Oh my god! I forgot.
When he
You
was
remember
like
that?
#1 center in the league.
He was
He just
coming
never
off.
played.
He was coming off a couple injuries.
He was coming off injuries, but when he was on the Pelicans with Anthony Davis,
Oh
that
my
was
they were
God.
really
gross.
Yeah.
Remember when Brittany Griner said she could take him in a one-on-one in that time?
Hey, little man.
I was like,
God.
It's okay, little man. Like,
but now look at her. She's doing well for
and
herself,
then
right?
that coach was like, I would. No offense, I am selling my house. I am selling my cars. I'm selling everything and putting that money on Boogie. And then he was terrible there.
In
Golden State.
He just didn't. He
I
never
just-
really played that
You know
much.
what? Actually,
It's
actually
because he
did
signed
start
up
playing.
1 year.
And I
Actually,
felt
started
like he was catching a little bit of stride in the playoffs, and then he tore some in his quad,
Yeah.
and he was out for the rest of the
Yes.
playoffs. She had a lot of injuries in that playoff run against.
Playing
the
good now
Raptors.
though with the Nuggets as a backup role.
I
Shout out
did
to
not
Marcus
know he
Cousins.
was. What?
Yeah.
On the Nuggets.
He's playing like 12 or so minutes a game, putting up good buckets.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for Boogie.
Because he went through what? The Rockets, the Warriors, what are the other teams he played with? It was
He signed with the
the
Lakers.
Clippers. He did. Yeah, the Lakers
But
was
like
last year.
I feel like he didn't even.
And then
I
he
don't
got
think
dropped.
played,
Almost
yeah.
No, he played a couple
Oh,
games.
okay.
I almost forgot he was going
But yeah, he went through like 4 or 5 teams, but he's got a role now. Good for him.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people don't really know about Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Steph Curry not win his first MVP till like what 28?
No, it was 2015, 2016.
Sorry, he's
I
telling his
think.
age.
His age.
Oh, age, yeah. 27, 28.
He was probably drafted in the league at like 22.
Yeah.
So it took him 6 years to get to that point. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like they had Steph Curry and it's like, oh, best point guard in the league. No, it took a very long time to get
Yeah,
there.
yeah, he was not that guy. Like, he couldn't lead a team ever. Which he still can't.
Mhm.
I don't think he can at all.
Oh, fair,
because
fair.
last year I think he was injured a little bit. But he was healthy for most of the
He was
year.
playing really well.
And they missed the
It was
playoffs.
well, they got to the play-in.
Yeah, they got to the play-in and lost to your Lakers.
Yeah. Big dog shit, baby. Let's go, Braun.
And then they lost to the Grizzlies. I think that was a disappointing one.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Grizzlies.
Not
Which
this
now
year's
are
Grizzlies.
2
They're
seed,
2
yeah.
seed. That was last year's Grizzlies.
But I just wanna-
with a rookie jaw.
Just kind of want to say with the whole
One
super
shot.
team thing, people want to that's one of the first super teams they bring up is that team. But ultimately, they developed almost everyone on that roster except for Kevin Durant. They just added Kevin Durant. It's like, hey, Kevin Durant, just go win 2 championships with us.
Yeah.
Why not? And almost won 3, but they
Oh,
won 2.
forgot with the Warriors. Shout out David Lee as well.
David Lee.
That was a name I was wondering was gonna get brought up.
man.
Shout out David Lee.
So we talk about these super teams. How about the teams that compete or competed with these super teams? So like today, we got the Suns.
the Suns,
Who have
I
no big
love.
signings.
Like, I don't
on their
like the
team?
Suns as a team,
They just drafted all
but
these
I love
guys.
what they did.
And they just blew up now.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges.
I think they traded for some and signed some, but like that's just like Jay Crowder.
They-
It's like a
And
couple.
Chris Paul is
They
no big
traded,
one, but
They traded like to get. I remember they traded Oubre to the Warriors.
That's right.
Yeah. He
Oh,
disappeared.
but another guy on the Warriors that they drafted and is developing too is Jordan Poole.
And Gary Payton the second,
Mhm.
and what's his name? Juan Toscano Anderson.
And so
Bucket.
the Warriors have made the
Bucket.
playoffs. They make the playoffs like the last decade, pretty
Yeah,
much,
they're stupid.
because they've been drafting their players. And like Matt's bringing up, the Suns have drafted and developed.
They're the one seed. They're demolishing everybody.
Yeah, dude.
They
like,
embarrassed the
I think
Lakers
they're
to kick
10
them out of
games
the
up
playoffs.
on the Heat, who are the one seed in the East.
Really?
Some stupid like
Oh my
that.
god.
Yeah, they have
They
11.
bought-
They have
oh.
11 more wins.
And they're doing all
Okay.
Hey, Boss,
Hey,
get on
Box,
that.
get on that.
Get on that.
Right now, the Heat would be tied for third seed, I think, in the West. Not the first. In the
But
Yeah.
you look at the Suns, and they're doing this off of Devin Booker, who they drafted, has been on the team for a while. DeAndre Ayton, right?
Shout out to Devin Booker dropping 60 on the Celtics and losing. Back when he was young buck.
It was 70. He dropped a
Oh,
70.
70?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So 70.
That was kind of sad. They're calling timeouts so they could get more shots
Get more
off. And
points,
they're down to like
man!
30,
Get more
and it's like, okay,
points!
whatever. But I just thought it was really funny to see this who's gonna beat this team out of 7 games of the Lakers, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
their
that
season,
graphic they had.
their season,
Might as well
ended.
call the season now.
Their
Who's winning in this matchup?
Their season is
Jesus
ended by like
Christ.
a 30-point loss to the Suns, who have no one who you would think is better than anyone on the Lakers. Like who do you think on that team is better than LeBron or Anthony Davis? It's like what's happening over there?
Promising
Nobody,
basketball.
but they have a team that's built to last. Like the Lakers signed a bunch of dinosaurs. They signed
Mhm.
Wayne Ellington, Trevor Ariza, Carmelo, Dwight Howard, like all these just
I heard that name in a while.
old men. Kent Bazemore, like what?
Kent. Oh man.
Like all of these guys are dinosaurs. Like, and they're not built for it. The one signing they had that was good was Malik Monk. That's it.
I was very surprised about that when I saw they signed Malik Monk. I was like, what are they doing?
Malik Monk's a bucket, dude. Like I like that signing.
I was wrong.
I like that signing a lot.
He was really good in college. And I was like, oh, he's not doing much in.
He was pretty decent on the Hornets. Like he was putting up his games.
Not as good as LaMelo.
LaMelo wasn't even on
the
the team when he was
LaMelo's-
starting.
LaMelo's there now. That's what matters.
That's why they got rid of Devontae Graham and like Terry Rozier was their backup. Or
Mhm.
Scary Terry.
oh, Terry!
Oh man, those announcers are.
Another
something
team that I
else.
like, that they bounced back pretty well after losing their super team. Your Heat.
Yeah, I mean the first couple of years
Jimmy
were.
Buckets, old broccoli hair.
Yeah, I mean, but we're not gonna forget about us not signing D Wade and that team of Rondo, D Wade, and Jimmy on the Bulls. That was painful to
that
see
was
as a Heat
really
fan.
weird.
Yeah, it's like fever dream, and then he went to the Cavs.
That
and came
super
back.
team also
That
failed
was
as well,
weird.
didn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
it was.
I mean-
And Powell was on the team too.
Oh, pal.
Yeah, it was. I think Robin Lopez was the center there, or something stupid like that. But
Joakim Noah.
no, he was on the
I
Knicks.
love Joakim.
But I just remember watching the
Buckets.
Heat play the Lakers in the finals, saying, "Who is on this Miami Heat team other than Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo?" It's a
I
bunch
mean,
of undrafted guys and late
Duncan.
round picks.
Duncan was playing his mind, like playing out of his mind then. That's why he got his big old contract and decided just to miss a bunch of shots in the first half of the season. But
yeah.
Jay Crowder was on that team and he was
Oh,
getting
yeah.
his buckets. PJ Tucker wasn't there yet.
Tyler Hero had a really good.
Dragic is
Oh.
always just a
yeah.
bucket. Like that guy was criminally underrated.
And now who do they have?
He got hurt for most
We
of the
have
series.
Kyle
already.
Lowry, big booty Kyle Lowry.
Big booty
Oh
Kyle.
my god! How did I forget Kyle Lowry was
Big
there?
booty Kyle.
Big Kyle.
I love Kyle Lowry. Like
Ugly
that
ass.
is a guy who you want on a super team.
Yes.
You want Kyle Lowry instead of a Westbrook.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe a DeMar DeRozan.
I don't like.
Oh,
I don't think
I
DeMar
know.
DeRozan would have had the season he had if he was on the Lakers.
Well, we all
instead
know
of
true.
Bulls.
that.
That's true.
We all know that, but I don't think the Lakers would have the season they had
But
if
look
they
at the
had
Bulls.
DeRozan instead.
The
of-
Bulls were
Westbrook.
one seed for like a quarter of the
Exactly. And
season.
they didn't draft a lot of their young guys, but they have a really young team now.
Yeah.
Their oldest guy, or their oldest and their leader is DeMar DeRozan, who's probably 28.
Yeah,
I think.
before the season,
I think he's 30.
Okay.
before the season started, they didn't go get anyone. They were like, "Wow, that guy's a superstar."
Yeah, they went and got
Yeah, they got
Lonzo.
DeMar, and everyone was like, "I don't know about
Yeah.
that." Like it was an I don't know
Everyone
about
was
that.
still
thing.
kind of like on the fence about Zach LaVine, and now he's goddamn.
No, Zach LaVine, he's been talented. He just can't stay on the court. That's his issue. And then Patrick Williams fits in his role, defense, but he's injured, I think. And then Lonzo, he's been injured like the entire season.
So he does.
I'm not big on Lonzo, but he fits that team well. And then
Who's
Caruso I hate the guy so much because he complains like he's LeBron, but he's a stud.
He's a
great defensive player.
Bald eagle, take flight.
He's a sneaky athletic guy.
Would you guys dare to say he plays the game the right way?
He's a real lunch pail type of guy.
The weirdest thing is,
he would like to take up the mob.
in training camp, they all raved about him. He's the first one in there, last one.
First guy to get there, last
real
guy.
gym rat.
A gym rat. Okay. But who's their head coach?
What's his Billy some?
Oh shit, the old Thunder coach, right? Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan, I'm pretty sure.
Billy Donovan.
I think so.
The more and more we talk about this, I'm really surprised because it seems a lot of the success comes from a good core combined with a really good coach, which is.
Well, that's another thing I want to ask.
To me, is just you have the Lakers when they won it. They just kind of tossed together an assortment of guys, grabbed some random coach, and just kind of said, "Go out there and play some basketball."
Yeah, you
and
can't have Frank Vogel as the coach of that team without any
How
defense.
did it work?
Because Caruso, Avery Bradley, all these defensive guys were there, and nobody on the team right now can play defense. And Frank Vogel is a defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Roy Hibbert was good.
Yeah, I know.
That's why
Roy Hibbert and LeBron were having some and Paul George were having some matches back in the East, back in the early teens.
Those are actually pretty fun to watch.
Other than that Spurs series in 2013, those are my favorite games to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Birdman getting dunked on.
Oh, Birdman.
Birdman got baptized.
Dipped in some holy water by Roy Hibbert or what?
No, Paul George.
Paul George?
He drove in and
This is before he...
And then the weirdest game winner ever, like LeBron just stood up top and took an easy layup to win the game on one of those, which was crazy. Just those series were so much fun to watch. And even like those teams, like the Pacers, you could I wouldn't call them a super team, but they were close. George Hill at their point guard, he was almost an all-star that one of those years, I think. Paul George,
who's now an NBA champion, if I'm not mistaken, right, with the Bucks.
George Hill?
I don't know. Was George Hill there? Yes, he was. So. He was there last year. I can't remember.
Which is another guy that you probably want to add, a veteran guy, add to a team that has developing young stars. I don't want to call Giannis a developing young star, but a young core of solid stars.
Giannis is like 25.
Oh, God, is he really only 25?
I think so.
Because I remember playing 14
Get on that.
But I mean, you got him, you got Chris Middleton, you pair him with guys like George Hill,
Drew Holiday, dude. Like he was their second best player last year. Chris Middleton didn't even do that good.
Well, and then also guys like Brook Lopez is still there.
Yeah, he's been injury prone for sure. But Brook Lopez gets a bucket.
I'm just trying to try a crazy high 3-point percentage that season he first joined.
We called him Splash Mountain.
And he torched the Heat for no reason when we got swept last year. He was getting like fadeaway and 1 threes.
I think I remember seeing his having a 30-point game, and I was like, why does Brook Lopez have 30 points?
I'm sorry, Luke, I think you're getting to a point. What was it?
Oh, it's just I'm trying to bring up the point of young core of guys that you draft, and you kind of bring in the veteran free agents and trades. Like they trade for Brook Lopez, they got George Hill, they traded for Drew Holiday. You kind of bring those guys in to help your young core, but you still keep a young core that you drafted.
Shout out Jabari Parker, the one that got away.
No!
The one that got away.
I think I'm going to build on what Luke said, and I'm going to dumb it down. What it sounds like is you don't want your best player to be a guy that you just sign or trade for.
Unless
I disagree with that, because Jimmy's the best Heat player.
That is true.
Okay.
That is true. But I think Jimmy's different, though.
Jimmy's that guy.
Jimmy isn't a superstar in the sense of give him the ball every play and
agreed.
Jimmy
let him go and score. Jimmy's the kind of guy who's going to pass the ball and play defense. He's not
honestly. Tyler Hero's the best offensive player on the Heat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what he's saying. He's saying Jimmy Butler's not.
Yeah, no. I get what you're saying. Like I'm pointing it out. Like Jimmy Butler, took a role as the best player on the team. He went there and took a role.
So yeah, I'll still never forget him legendarily taking the B squad of the
the Timberwolves.
Bob, I know you heard about this.
Yeah, that's
I forgot
one of
he
my
was
favorite
on
Jimmy
the Wolves.
stories.
I forgot he was on the Wolves.
That's when Jimmy was a
I know
villain.
he's on the Wolves.
Didn't he? Okay. Didn't he fuck one of the reporters in the bubble? I thought there was like a rumor.
Rachel
going around.
Nichols.
There was a rumor going around.
No,
about
that's
that, right?
He was
2K
Drake.
girl.
No, that's Rachel Demita.
Oh, okay.
Rachel Nichols was the redhead one.
Right. So that there was a very big rumor about that, right?
It's not a
It's
rumor.
not a rumor.
Jimmy,
No.
no. It's because Jimmy was dribbling
he was-
basketballs in his room at night.
He was dribbling basketballs, bro.
Yeah. I also heard he was charging like upwards of like $6 like, for a cup of coffee in the.
He has his own business now.
Yeah, he was charging
Big
crazy.
Face Coffee.
Yeah, he was charging crazy. Bro, we're off.
He opened one up. He opened up a coffee shop
Where the fuck is it?
somewhere in Miami.
Oh shit! Well, I mean, podcast on the move, guys. We're making a list, checking it twice.
Shout out Big Face Coffee, our first sponsor.
That's what it's called.
Type in
Big Face
type
Coffee.
in code Locker Rooms and Legends at checkout for a discount.
But so back to the point. But can you think of any other instances where a team, well, other than a super team, well, I guess the super teams, yeah, but other than a super team, where the best player was not drafted and developed on that team?
Well, then you mean it's successful? I mean,
Yeah.
you go back to the Heat.
Yeah, LeBron.
That's like I try to say that's not a super team
Um,
because obviously the super teams, those are different.
Let me think. The Raptors, no, because that was an injury-riddled Warriors team, and that was Kawhi that they traded for.
Oh, that is true.
But the Spurs drafted
I'm
every
kind of
guy on
waiting
those
to
teams.
get to the Spurs.
They never really.
Because the
Tony
Spurs are kinda
Parker,
like-
Danny Green, Kawhi, Manu,
I mean,
Tim Duncan,
Tim Duncan.
Tiago Splitter,
I mean, even before our time.
Patty
David-
Mills,
David
like,
Robinson
all-
too.
yeah,
Before our time, but still.
yeah, but that super team, I wouldn't even call it a super team.
You can't
Genuine.
call it a super team because it's built off team basketball off a core with a really good coach.
It's because Greg Popovich knows how to coach a team, and he knows how to get guys to mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the biggest thing. If you can put you could be the worst team in the NBA, have a good coach, and be the 8th seed, because your team just meshes and they beat teams that they're not supposed to because they know how to play.
It is a long season.
Yes.
People can make it to the playoff. I mean, we have plenty of teams that, with losing records, that are making the playoffs.
Also, as of right now in the league, only 5 teams per conference don't make the play-in, at least the play-in tournament. So it's only 10 teams in total.
And they want to add more playoff teams.
So
which
like
is
at that point,
stupid to me.
it's like
More playoff teams or play-in teams?
playoff.
and then probably just keep the play-in the same, but then probably just
Or
add
what's
more
his name?
spots.
Colin Cowherd suggested add more playoff teams, more playoff games, more make them 5-game series instead of 7,
Hmm.
which is 7-game series in the NBA is like iconic. Like if you go to Game 7, that's crazy. I don't want to watch a 5-game series.
What's a game 5? What the hell's a game 5? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just
Guys,
sounds
game 5
weird.
tonight. So what? So what?
So a team like the Warriors with Mark Jackson, do you think what happened to the Warriors would have happened with Mark Jackson, or do you think it needed
No.
Steve? You think it needed?
It
Steve
needed
Kerr?
Steve Kerr. 100%.
And you think Steve Kerr really had that much of an impact? What about Steve, Miami Heat head coach?
Eric Spoelstra.
Would the teams of LeBron have happened? Would the team now and if the championship run of 2020 happen without him?
I think now he's way more important than he was back then because
Oh,
he
yeah.
kind of just got shoehorned in there as coach.
Okay.
Like it was like the same thing.
Now, real question. Do you think the Cavaliers would have won it without Tyronn Lue?
He has shown, like, I was skeptical. He has shown he's a good coach.
So
Like,
he's-
with the
he's coaching
Clippers,
the Clippers.
Okay.
like, he's
Awesome.
coaching the hell out of the Clippers.
And they didn't have Paul George for the
But
whole
fuck
season.
no, he didn't
They
matter.
beat the Lakers. They beat the Lakers.
Yeah, like 4 times this year. But no, he didn't matter in the
I more
Cavs
meant they
run.
beat him out for the playoffs, but actually they beat him like 7 times in a row.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy
It's
had like
horrible.
Luke Kennard and Reggie
Luke Kennard's a bucket.
and Reggie Jackson out there. leading
How
the
did they
Clippers.
make
Reggie
the
Jackson's, it's...
I'm not saying they're bad.
No,
I'm
no,
not
I'm
they're
saying
bad, but
Reggie Jackson had a good ass
They
year.
made the playoffs without Kawhi and Paul George.
Paul George didn't come back till like the last week of the season.
Kawhi's
yeah,
not back yet, right?
Kawhi's not back.
Is he
Kawhi's
coming
not going to
back?
play this year.
I don't think so.
No way.
Is he doing it again? Is he doing it to the Spurs?
But like,
again?
it's just an interesting thing. I was looking at the standings.
Shout out Zaza.
I was looking at the. Oh my
Fucking
god.
7, baby.
Almost all-star starters.
Should have been
Zaza
all-star
Pachulia.
starter.
Should
got
have
voted in.
Voted in. gypped them. But I was looking at the standings
So
here
bad.
of the West, especially. I'm looking so Suns, Grizzlies, Warriors, Mavericks, Jazz, Nuggets, Timberwolves. Then you got Clippers, Pelicans, and Spurs. Those are the 10 playoff teams. Well, quote playoff teams. And if you really listened to 1 through 7, all those teams pretty much drafted most of their core players.
Especially like the Spurs. Like the Pelicans, no.
Well, that's why I said top 7.
Top 7.
That
top
doesn't
7.
include the Clippers, Pelicans, and Spurs, even though
Okay.
they kind of did. But the top 7, like Suns, obviously
The
did.
The
Clippers-
Pelicans traded away their talent that they drafted to get the talent they have now, though.
Yeah, it's true. Like
Yeah.
they got rid of Anthony Davis. They got rid of
They did also draft. Well, I can't say
And
his
then they got
name
the-
because he hasn't really
They
played.
got the
much.
fat man.
Yeah,
Dude, he looked. I saw the video of him today, dude. 360 dunk. He looked fat.
like the Suns.
How he's a freak of nature though. He'll come back like nothing.
We talked
I
about the
don't
Suns
know.
already, but the Grizzlies too. They drafted
Dude.
players, and they also kind of
Like-
traded for some older guys too.
Like, they
to help
have-
out a little bit,
I mean, kinda, but like,
but not. I
they
know
have
not a lot.
Steven Adams.
But that's kind of what I mean. They added him to kind of help the team.
Yeah.
But the core of the team is still John Morant.
It's Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr.,
Mhm.
Steven Adams, and that team is just good.
They have. Last time I saw they were like 18-2 without John Morant on the season.
Stupid. Like,
But just to bring up
your best
MVP,
player.
MVP slightly, I just feel like if you want John Morant to win MVP, I feel like that argument alone kills him winning MVP. If you want to be one
No,
of those,
he missed too many games.
also that if
regardless.
you want to be one of those guys who says, "Well, he's in the race," does in the race
Yeah,
matter?
if you're thinking of
No.
a record of 20-2 without him, you're kind of like, ugh, isn't that kind of missing enough games?
Just want to say it's like people want to. Then people want to say, "Oh, well, he should at least be in the race," and they say, "I don't care about in the race, so don't bring it up."
He's not going to win one.
Yeah.
Put him-
The only 3 MVPs we should be talking about are Jokic,
Two were
Embiid,
centers.
Giannis.
Yeah, 2 centers. I mean, shit.
I would
Giannis
call
is-
Giannis a center almost.
He's close.
The way he plays,
But
he's
he
pretty
plays
much a
point
center.
guard, though. So
He
it's
plays
probably-
point, center, power
Yeah.
forward.
And we
small
also
forward, shooting guard.
already talked about the Warriors. Then there's the Mavericks too, but the Mavericks still
I
feel like
I don't know about that.
I still feel like
Well,
they just
the
haven't
Mavericks,
really.
Don't we not know when Luka's coming back? Oh, God, I forgot about that.
But it's like they drafted Luca, and that's their core player.
I mean, I think he should be back.
But
on
who are the
one.
stars on that team? They still have to.
Luca, and then Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim
Oh,
Hardaway
God.
Jr.,
So
Maxi Kleba.
So they'll be fine without him. I'm
So
sure.
they're trying to do the young core thing, but their core is really only Luca. So
I mean,
They tried to pair him with Kristaps. That did not work, I
at all,
guess.
apparently.
yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I've heard they're going after Gobert, but it's like I don't know. They're
Going
just
after Gobert.
they're just a weird team.
Yeah. So they're kind of trying to do the developing, but they're also kind of not. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like the guys they have are like who were drafted in like 2015-ish, so like that range, and then Luca's the youngest guy on that team.
Mhm. I mean, what is he? He's like 20, 21, 22 or something.
Luca's like
Don't even know if he
He was
He's
drafted
24-ish.
Okay, 'cause I thought he was drafted in the league like very
Yeah.
young. But then the next team's the Jazz, and they're another team who drafted, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and they did go sign Michael Conley, which they hoped would be kind of like that piece that would push him over the
That guy
edge.
has no business making the amount of money he's made.
No, not at all. But I like him. Like I like Mike Conley, but like that's too much.
They're trying to make him that last piece, that last veteran guy, last star that they needed to go over the hump, and it hasn't really worked. But they have the good head coach. They have a good young core of some players.
Yeah, like Donovan Mitchell,
Oh, and
he's a bucket.
Jordan
like,
Clarkson too.
Jordan Clarkson's a great 6-man,
Mhm.
but he's kind of like on and off.
Yeah, I
like,
mean that's why you come off the bench.
yeah. But I mean, I could never see their team winning the way they are.
No.
Like it's like you look at them and you're like, eh.
There's some teams just get capped out. At
It's like the Nuggets too. I don't think they could win
Well,
with just Jamal
MPJ
Murray and
Well, Jamal Murray's not even playing.
yeah,
right now.
no, but it's
How's
just
that was
Jokic
the
right
next.
now.
That was the next team I was going to bring up because I want to ask is like they have a pretty good young team, and a lot of the guys they did draft. And again, they did the same thing. They kind of thought maybe Aaron Gordon would be that last piece that they needed.
Yeah,
But it's like, do you
he's
think?
all right.
I mean, Jamal Murray isn't playing, but like with him playing, you probably assume they finished a 6th seed. They probably could have at least been like 4th seed if they. Had
Oh
gone
yeah,
all season.
for sure. Like I definitely think so, and especially with them, MPJ too. That dude's made of glass, but like
it's another guy they drafted. And
Yeah.
he's
It's like their whole team they drafted,
Mhm.
except for Aaron Gordon, of course, and then
yeah.
I can't think of the bench right now, but
Two questions. Where do we think the super team started, and do we think super teams are good or bad for the league?
I mean the first super teams were like the fucking Celtics, like the original Celtics, like
Okay,
the
so
Bill
we
Russell,
already
like Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, like teams like that. Wilt, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, what's his name, Jamal Wilkes, I think. So like teams like that, they were super teams, but like also they had like 10 teams.
That is true.
But then it gets to like the Showtime Lakers, where it's Magic, Cooper,
Showtime, baby.
Magic,
Lakers.
Cooper, James Worthy, AC Green, Kareem, Byron Scott, Michael Thompson, like all these players they had. And then you get to like the Bulls. I would call them a super team because they didn't draft Rodman.
But
he
Rodman wasn't
okay.
a lot before he went there.
He was a good Piston.
But he wasn't really
Bad boy Pistons.
as impactful.
Rodman definitely did his work with the Pistons, and that's why they won a couple times. But I mean, I don't think he got the spotlight because he wasn't a freak at that point. Like he didn't have dyed
He
hair.
didn't marry himself.
He didn't marry himself
Not
in
yet.
a wedding dress.
So that's just kind of one of those. That was a team I had in my mind of like, are they really a super team? Because they drafted Jordan, they drafted Pippen,
Yeah.
and they went and
They-
they got Rodman, which was kind of like.
And
What-
Ron Harper too. I'm pretty sure they got him from somewhere. And then
So those are guys that they kind of added to just kind of finish off the team, and that's kind of what they did.
yeah, and like Jordan hated Rodman. Like they hated each other.
I mean,
But Jordan,
no.
I would hate Jordan being on his team too. I would hate Rodman too.
Yeah, that's,
But it's like they're like they know their roles, and once they're on the court, they're best friends. They're getting their buckets. Like
and
you
then
know,
Phil
they're doing
Jackson,
their job.
Phil Jackson as
Yeah.
the coach.
One of the greatest coaches.
Yeah,
of all
so
time.
that obviously he tied it all in together to help that team really win a lot.
So Bobby, you have the most say, I'd say, of our group in the NBA. So super teams, good or bad for the sport? Or is it just another team? Who cares?
I don't like. It's a yes, like it's a I don't like it, and it's a no because as like I'm a Heat fan, we built the crap out of our team, and I love that. But it's like I like watching the Nets too. Like I like watching Kyrie and KD go get their buckets at the same time. I think it's bad. Like if you did like what the Lakers did was bad. What the Nets did was also bad. Like you can't just throw 3 ball dominant players on the court and say good luck
Go win some games.
with a random coach.
That's
Like
why I was so surprised Chris Paul and James Harden worked so well together on the Rockets.
yeah, and even Harden and Westbrook
I was about to
were
say
pretty
even
decent.
Harden and Westbrook worked out way better
It's
than I thought
because
it would.
you can do 2. You can't do 3.
Yes, you go. Yeah,
This
there's
one was a big man.
a number.
Because Kyrie and KD worked.
Maybe that's
LeBron
the
and AD worked. Westbrook and Harden worked. Westbrook and Durant worked. LeBron and Wade worked. Even though Bosh was like the kick out. Like you would kick it out to Bosh, you know? Like PG and Westbrook worked. PG and Kawhi, they should work. I don't know if Kawhi is ever going to play a game again, but
So kind of what it sounds like is super teams are good for the casual fan who just likes to turn on a basketball game and be like, hey,
it's good for
I
ratings.
love watching Kevin Durant and Kyrie on the
It's
court
good
at the
for
same
ratings
time.
for sure.
But then as like a diehard fan of a team, you're like, God damn it, we just spent years developing this roster. We're gonna have it taken from us by this big market team that just went and signed all the free agent guys.
I would rather see more good teams than a couple teams up top. Like a team like the Kings, they have terrible management and they haven't signed anyone.
They haven't been anywhere in a long time.
No, they're not good. And it's like, I hate seeing teams just suck and suck and suck. Which I liked about, which was good about the Heat. They traded for Dragic. They signed Luol Deng. They did all this shit. Luol Deng finally contract over for the Lakers.
That took a while.
Got a bag. But Timofey Mozgov's probably still getting paid. Yeah, it's like I like when a team doesn't hit the reset. Like if they don't have to, because the Heat didn't
Do
have
you
to.
like when teams are always trying to get in the mix of things? They're never like, you know what, we'll just take this season.
I mean, I don't like a team that'll just sit 8 seed every year either.
yeah. You got to be going up or down.
Like, yeah, like the Orlando Magic for a couple of years were just 8 seed, 8 seed, 8 seed, and they were just going nowhere, drafting a bunch of just
Now
players.
they're 15th at 22 and 60.
Yeah, I think they have one of the first picks.
Yeah,
So
good for them.
yeah, good for them.
It's the turnaround time, guys. It's
Yeah.
the turnaround time.
And it's like it's time. It's fine blowing up a team like that because who wants to go to the fucking Magic?
Now you can go see the Heat, baby.
Yeah, if you're going to a game in Florida, you're going to a Heat game. It's like I'm surprised people like wanted to go to the Clipper games.
Well, they were $10.
Like who wants to go to the Clippers?
$10
Why, like,
tickets.
Kawhi wanted to go to the Clippers, and Paul George asked for a trade there. Like,
That was weird. I was like, why do you guys want to go
That was a
there?
very odd.
yeah, it's like who wants to watch that? I guess it's L.A., but it's like you guys are like the Angels.
Hey,
Hey, we'll get into that another day.
Okay.
that'll be
But-
on for another show.
But I think that that's all we have time for today, guys. Thank you, Bobby, again for coming on, especially when no one else decided to show up today.
What do you mean? I thought they were here the whole time. Oh, they
They
talked.
must have left when I didn't. When I
They
turned
talked
back.
about as much as they do as usual.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Well, guys,
What's a special treat?
the special treat is first I'll just sign us off, and then I'll sign us off with the special treat.
Okay.
Guys, make sure you think outside the box. And the special treat is make sure you go on Fortnite to the item shop and make sure you use creator code Lockrooms and Legends. It'll really
Yeah.
help us out.
That's it.
Did you